Please give Bret and Jason a heartfelt welcome to Google Chicago.
Thanks, Rachel. Thanks, everybody, for taking some time out of your day to be here. We're super happy to be here. We're really excited to shed our viewpoint, our light on having the best day every day. My name's Bret. I'm the co-founder of Live Better.
My name's Jason Loebig, the other co-founder.
We're super excited to be here today to be talking about how we live the best day ever, every day, even when you knock over your water bottle. We're going to start with a quote. Normal is getting dressed in clothes that you buy for work and driving through traffic in a car that you're still paying for in order to get to the job you need to pay for the clothes and the car and the house you leave vacant all day so you can afford to live in it. We didn't like normal, so we decided to do this for a living.
So 4 years ago, I had a really hard time waking up for work. I've not always been a morning person, although I might consider myself to be now. I was a public accountant, like Rachel mentioned, but I knew that that was not what I really wanted to be doing. I wasn't waking up, coming into the office, rushing to get to somewhere I wanted to be, and I knew that there was a little bit of passion and purpose in teaching people about wellness. I loved the people I worked with, but that tangible impact that I wanted to be making at my place of work was really just not there. And that led me towards Live Better, to reconnect with Bret, and then have that be a normal Tuesday afternoon.
4 years ago, I had an hour-and-a-half commute to a data analytics job that I found zero value in. I loved everything I was doing outside of work, and enjoyed all the activities when I was not in the office. Once I devoted my life to my purpose, I have had the best day ever, every single day, even on a Tuesday. So we'll give a little intro about how Live Better started. Jason and I met in college through Jason's wife when he would come to visit the University of Illinois. We were drinking buddies. Drinking is an understatement. We were a little bit more than that. We enjoyed ourselves. We had a good time. And we met up again a little bit after college, after a few years off. I was working at Kohl's corporate at the time, and then ended up transitioning to Walgreens corporate. When I came back to Chicago, I saw Jason out at a bar. And if any of you know Jason, he's a nice, bubbly, fun, charismatic guy. He looked like shit. And I said, hey, what's going on? Why aren't you happy? What's up? And he's told me that, hey, man, I'm working a 95-hour week, and I have to go into work tomorrow. Tomorrow was a Sunday. I said, hey, man, I'm thinking of an idea. Let's go sit down next week and chat. So we sat down a week later, what we thought would be for a dinner, and has been our journey. For the last 4 years, we've met every single day. We have started training clients like I did today at 5 in the morning, ended up working throughout the entire day at our corporate jobs, would sneak on to instant messenger chat, or run away at lunch to meet, would train clients in the evening, would meet until we would have to fall asleep, wake up again in the morning. We've done that for the last 4 years. This has been a serious hustle. Nothing has happened overnight. We have made this our own thing. Our intuition led us to helping people with wellness.
So I just want to give a little bit broader perspective over what Live Better is and how we do it. So Rachel gave a great intro. We wear about 35 different hats, currently working on making that 20. But Live Better is a dynamic health and wellness company. And we just like to say that we specialize in experiences. So that could be something like the wellness retreat we ran in El Salvador. We've done a few of those. All the way to big corporate consulting projects. We have written a warm-up for work program for United Airlines ramp operations team, so all the people that moved your checked bags, helping them stay healthier at work. We've done things like performance coaching for executive clients. We've done visualizations for professional athletes before races and games, all the way down to one-on-one training for clients, as well as mindfulness initiatives for children. So we've been going into some high-risk school areas to teach yoga and meditation as behavioral modification. And this long journey has allowed us to have several different experiences, which have been aided certainly by Brett and I both being Nike trainers. Most recently, Nike run coaches. We teach classes at Barry's Boot Camp, which is a really great way to get in front of a super fun community. And then we also teach yoga, which we've done on retreats, all the way to doing things for fun like rooftop yoga during the summer. Our big sort of purpose at the beginning was trying to marry up our experience we had in the corporate world, which was not all bad. We learned all the great soft skills like showing up on time for meetings and how to host calls and conduct yourself in a professional setting, and help marry that with all of these health experiences that we've had. Because we know what it's like to sit in that seat for really long hours at a time. I know what it's like to travel Monday through Thursday with early flights, late night returning home with no food in the fridge. And that's ultimately what we wanted to do, was help our clients and community find strategies and ways to make every day the best day ever, no matter what it is you liked doing for work.
So we've mentioned a few times that we host wellness retreats. On every retreat we host, we hand out a copy of our favorite book, which is The Alchemist. And I would like to read a quote from that book. "What is the world's greatest lie?" the little boy asks. The old man replies, "It's this, that at a certain point in our lives, we lose control of what's happening to us, and our lives become controlled by fate. That's the world's greatest lie." We're here today to tell you that you are in 100% control of your life. You guys decided to show up. You guys are here right now by your will. Every single decision that you make every day is your choice. It is extremely important to become and really believe in those decisions, that we get to control our fate. We decide where we want to take our lives, what we want to do, and how we want to get there. You create your life.
So throughout this journey that we've had on Live Better, we've sort of settled on two really foundational ideas and steps we take to build this life. So step number one is your purpose. And while many of you in this room might be looking up there saying, "I'm not really quite sure I found that yet," that's totally okay. And we'll touch on that again later. But this is your why. So if you haven't found what that is, or if you're not quite sure what that deep ultimate purpose is, like this is my calling, I was born to do this, I've been doing this since I was 5, all I've ever done is play the piano, that's what I'm doing. If you're like, that's not me, these are the things that keep you up at night. The things that you wonder about, that pull at heartstrings, if you've ever volunteered for something that makes a big impact, anything that keeps you up at night. They're also the thing, it also might be the thing that wakes you up in the morning. So I already mentioned I didn't used to be a morning person. Now getting out of bed is a hell of a lot easier when it's for something that I really want to be doing. Even on the days where I'm tired, I still can pop out of bed knowing that I'm going to make the difference and the impact that I set out to do. And that is exactly the second step, and kind of where Live Better truly lives, is self-care. This is the fuel that you use to pursue that purpose. Without it, you are a suboptimal version of yourself. So if you give me 80% of your energy and attention, you are robbing me of 20% of your ultimate gift. If you add that up, you walk in, you're robbing your coworkers of work that needs to be done. You are robbing your relationships of energy, and you are not presenting the best version of yourself. This is Live Better's true mission. how do we help you with your self-care and then encourage you back towards your purpose. Think about this too, that the more energy you have, the more energy you have to pursue that purpose. The larger that purpose becomes, the more it demands of your energy. And round we go. So if you're not quite sure what your purpose is, one good step to find it might be to fill up your energy tank as high as it can go so that you're ready to take on those opportunities when they come to you. Because if you come home from a job or activities that you really don't like, and instead of going out there and meeting people, trying new things, being positive, which attracts other people to you, right? We don't allow anything back towards us. We sort of shut that off. We go home, we sleep, we can't function the way that we want. We wake up tired the next day. We go into something that we don't like, and round you go in the other direction. And we create this snowball effect. So what's the ultimate goal of this? What happens when we find our purpose, we apply self-care to it, we have the best day ever, every single day. And everybody kind of shakes that off at first. They're like, oh, well, that's just not possible. I'm having a horrible day today, like, F you. But this is not a Mr. Positive, nice guy attitude at all. Quite the contrary. This mindset is for the days when shit hits the fan, right? It's the days where everything goes wrong. When you wake up to your phone flashing, you already have way too many emails, way too many text messages, something from your personal life bleeds into your work life. You have the decision, like Bret talked about, every single day to either victimize yourself or get up, figure it out, make the best decision possible, and move on. It's your decision to make the next moment better than the last moment, to make the afternoon better than the shitty morning that you had. If your morning and your afternoon go south, these are the PM routines and the things that we can do for fun to kick us out of that cycle of suffering. And I think that's really important to note because a lot of us feel like life is happening to us. Like, why do these horrible things keep happening to me? Why do people in my life keep doing these things to me? Why do I keep getting injured? I tore my hamstring last year, about a year ago, off the bone in a surfing accident, and my entire life is my body. If I can't use it, it's really hard for me to work. Everything I do for fun is around moving. So it kind of shook my identity down to its core by saying everything you do for money and everything you do for fun has now taken a back seat. And it could have been very easy for me just to sit on the couch, wallow in it, complain about the fact that I got hurt and I couldn't do this. But instead I just did push-ups and pull-ups instead of went out for a run or doing squats. I got surgery and went back to teaching 4 days later on crutches. It's just my decision that life happens around all of us, and everything ends up being just your reaction to it. It's not happening to you, right? You're the center of your own universe, but of nobody else's. So it's understanding that in context. And if we think about what happens if we add up all of these best days ever, right? This is your best life ever. It's an accumulation of these days. So it's worth it to consider moment to moment, day to day, how do we have the best day ever? Because we're stringing these together. One thing I just want to address really quickly is that work-life balance is made up. So apart from maybe the world's greatest lie that Bret read you on the slide, the next one might be the concept of work-life balance itself. It's also an extremely dangerous contrast to make. Because if you consider or associate life, what you do after work, with all the fun things, then you are associating work with the antithesis of life, which would be death. And you're all in here still breathing, right? So we must consider what we do for work, the majority of your life, as part of that life equation. If you are mailing it in every day at work, you are robbing your coworkers of your talents, and they're either picking up your slack, or you are underperforming personally, which then lets your team down. The things that you carry from your personal life outside of, let's call it work, back into work affects your work, and you certainly carry your work home with you. So we're going to talk about a lot of strategies and ways to get around some of that, to be able to perform better at work. But if you're showing up every day at 9:01 and you're leaving every day at 4:59, if everybody does that, it breeds a culture of mediocrity and apathy. Well, if no one else cares, why should I care? So then we talk about this idea of work-life balance, like my life after work is more important. But that's not true. What this very ill-worded concept was trying to say is that we should better prioritize what we care about, the impact we're making at work, how you feel at work, because then this blends together into your day. I think we can better determine how we carry work into our home life and then how we carry home life back into work if we consider how to prioritize our entire day rather than making that distinction between this is who I am and how I feel at work and this is who I am and how I feel at home.
So we have a few principles that we would like to iterate and talk about throughout our talk today. And number one is discipline equals freedom. If you're unfamiliar with this, it might seem counterintuitive at first that restricting ourselves can actually create freedom. But this is a truth. This is a fact. If we think about it, we dive into one of my favorite topics, which is one of the ways in which I was able to leave behind what I thought I was doing for work and now pursue my dream every single day. And this is a concept of decision fatigue. So our bodies fatigue when we work out, when we go for a run. We know about physical fatigue. But our minds fatigue as well. Every single decision that you make throughout the day takes away some of your mental energy. So we think about small decisions. What socks are you going to wear? What are you going to eat for lunch? What are you going to do this weekend? Then we think about big decisions. Am I ready to buy a condo? Am I ready to ask this woman to marry me? Am I ready to go into this meeting today at 3 o'clock, my monthly meeting with my boss, and tell him I need a raise? So we break this down on a granular level by assigning points to these decisions. So let's say everybody wakes up every single day with 100 decision points. Picking out your socks, picking out your breakfast, 1, 2, 5 points, nothing big. That meeting with your boss, that's going to take 40, 50, 60 points. So just think about this. Think about every single day, every decision you make is draining something. This includes swiping up through Instagram, being on social media, listening to phone calls, watching TV in the background while you're trying to do something. All of these take mental energy. So let's go into an example. You wake up in the morning, you snooze your alarm 3 times. Pick up your phone, emails, social media. You scroll through. You step out of bed, you walk into your closet. You like this shirt, you like these pants, these socks, these shoes. You try them on, you go into the mirror, nah, I'm gonna go take out this one. You go switch your clothes. You go out in the mirror one more time, you look at your phone, you're like, oh wow, it's 75 degrees in Chicago, I'm wearing shorts. You go back in, you put on the shorts. Already, we've drained ourselves. Then you realize that you are late for work because of all that time it took. So you rush to work. You get into work, you sit down, you haven't eaten breakfast. You're hungry. That starts to bleed. It starts to bleed. You start to get more and more work put on your desk. Now it's 11 o'clock. Lunch is at 12. What do we start doing? Texting our friends, chatting with our colleagues. Where should we eat? What should we get? Where should we go? Where do you have a deal? What's Uber Eats going on? All of this different stuff. And with that, we drain from 11 until 11:35. All of that time is sucked out of your day and your mental energy deciding on what to eat for lunch. Then at 11:35, your boss slams something on your desk that's due at 1. So all of that time you just wasted, you now have to do this project. You perform it suboptimally. You hand it in at 1 o'clock. You know that you didn't do a good job on it. Then you just go down, decide to eat whatever is available. Now it's 2 o'clock. Your meeting's at 3 o'clock that you wanted to ask for that raise. You're a little fatigued. You're a little tired. So you say, you know what? I'll push that off to next month. This compounds every single day. You get home from work. You're tired. You're fatigued. You throw on Netflix, 1 episode, 2, 3, 8, a full season. You fell asleep during one of them, so you got to watch the next one. You order pizza. You go to sleep. You repeat. A lot of us have had those days. So let's take a step back. Let's think about how we can optimize our day every single day, create a cumulative effect, and how we can make ourselves our best selves. The night before, you got your clothes ready. You made your overnight oats. You got your lunch ready. You're ready to go. You wake up in the morning. Don't snooze your alarm. You don't do that in the morning. You wake up and you stretch and you breathe. You put on your clothes. You grab your gym bag. You grab your food. You walk out. You have used 0 points. You get to work. You're full. Your energy's up. You crush the morning. That envelope slams out your desk at 11:30, or that email. You're ready to rock. You crush it. You hand it in at 12:30. Now you have 30 minutes for yourself to prepare for that 3 o'clock meeting. You head into that meeting. You smash it. You say, I'm ready for a raise. Your boss goes, of course. You are always full of energy. Everything you do helps everybody in this office grow. I was thinking about giving that to you in this meeting as well. You come home from work. Instead of being tired, you go right to the gym. You work out. Now you have more energy. You just put in a lot of work on your body, so you decide to make a healthy dinner. After that healthy dinner, instead of wasting time watching Netflix, you read a book. That book teaches you something. Now we compound this day after day. 6 months from now, instead of reading that book, you're thinking, I kind of want to write a book. 2 years from now, you wrote a book. You laugh. We did that. We meal prepped. We still do. We get our clothes ready the night before. So now we're going to go over ways in which we can do this. So let's make actionable decisions, right? We can sit up here and talk all day, but if you guys don't walk out of here and fucking do anything, it's not worth being here. So we have a morning and PM routine. Everybody does, whether you think about it or not. Everybody can optimize it. Everybody can do a little bit better. So let's break this down. Every single thing we do has to have a purpose. So here's my example. I wake up in the morning. I go through 4 rounds of a breathing technique we're going to go over here today, so you know how to do it. I hydrate, flush my body out. I do my personal care, brush my teeth, make sure that I'm presentable so I can give talks like this. I stretch and release so that I'm ready to rock physically, because physically, like Jason mentioned, is a very important part of our day-to-day jobs. Then I run through my day so that I'm psychologically ready. Notice, no phone, no wasted time, no points used, because I do the same thing every single day. Then we get home from work, and our PM routine is just as important as our morning routine. So I shut off all my electronics. I drink a tea before bed to get my body cooled down. I read, I stretch, and I decide what I'm going to do the next day. Each one of these routines is no longer than 10 or 15 minutes. We all have that time, but it compounds day after day after day. Then we start to assess, how is this working? What is working for me? How can I create this life to be even better? Once we decide on these routines and implement them every single day, we can start having the best day ever.
So before we get to this breathing exercise, Bret talked about decision fatigue being this point system, right? So we arbitrarily assigned 100 points to it. Well, you're probably thinking like, okay, well, right now maybe I only have 70 points. I don't have 100. I don't feel that great. Well, there are 2 things you can do. Number 1, you can increase your points, or number 2, you can preserve them. So we're going to talk about 2 quick ways to increase them. The first one would be through your nutrition, right? So the food we eat is the foundation of the energy that we provide our body. I want you to raise your hand really quick if you've ever eaten pizza during a lunch meeting or any type of meeting and gone back not feeling very good. Yeah, literally everyone. Don't know why we still order pizza for lunch meetings. Don't eat the damn pizza. Right? You know that you're not going to feel good coming back from that meeting. We have all this little social stigma like, oh, you didn't grab a slice. Like, I'm watching you. You have to be able to be a leader in your office and say, hey, maybe we should order some healthier food this time. Or just simply say, like, no, thank you. I'm good. I brought it in. Right? You make the decision every single time to put the fork in your mouth. No one is force-feeding you that pizza, making you do it. So we have to come up with a better relationship with food. One quick little point for the parents in the room, I would also suggest not making the relationship between good and bad food subjective on taste. So every time you say, all right, you can have your dessert, but make sure we finish all of our veggies first, or you can get to this food after you make sure you eat all this food. You're creating the exact same association that work-life balance created with the positive and negative. You're associating the negative food with the healthy portion in order to get to the positive, good-tasting food, which is dessert. Right? And that gets ingrained in us. It's like everyone's like, oh, let's eat dessert first. Right? Life is short. Well, maybe life is short because we eat dessert first. Right? So just think about that. The second is exercise. So if I asked you right now if all of us got up and we went outside for a run, and I said, run as far as you possibly can, we might get a mile. We might get a couple miles. If you're runners in the room, just disregard this example. We're going to come back to talk about training for a goal, like a marathon. But if I trained you for 6 months, and then I went out and I said, I want you to run as far as you can, you'd be able to run a lot further, right? So we have the capacity to increase the amount of work we can do. And endurance applies to a lot more than just running. It applies to our emotional health as well. So the second thing is, how can we preserve points? So sort of moving around this holistic model of health, we can manage our sleep. Sleep is the most accessible, best performance-enhancing drug that you have access to, right? If you don't get enough sleep, you certainly feel it. Most of the time, if we do get enough sleep and we're not in a deficit, we get that pop out of bed feeling, I'm ready to go, right? We're all after that. Almost none of us get that. It's like the penultimate sleep goal. The second way would be to manage your stress. And that's something that we're going to walk through today. Bret mentioned a breathing exercise that he does. We're going to do that. Just kind of quickly on the graphic, right? That is the stereotypical image of what we consider meditation. But it's not all monks sitting in the mountains in mudras, right? It's for graphic visualization. Meditation is just simply the scientific practice of relaxing your brain to preserve some of those resources. And it's just rooted in a very simple breathing exercise that we're going to go through. But I want you to think about, instead of succumbing to decision fatigue because we've run out of all these points, because we're stressed out, because we have all these things going on, what if we could just take a quick break in the morning, once during work, and once in the evening? And we can do that. If we can do that, it allows us to decrease some of this stress, some of this overwhelm, to help the analytical side of your brain relax a little bit, so we can start to kick back up some of the creative side of your brain that helps us relax and have fun. So we're not going to meditate necessarily, but we are going to do this quick little breathing exercise. So I want you all just to close your eyes. You can just sit up nice and tall. And I want you just to start taking deep breaths in through your nose and out through your mouth. Each exhale you take, I want it to be audible enough so that your neighbor to your left and right can hear it. I want the inhale you take to be nice and quiet and calm. As we start to do this, I want you to add a count to your breathing. So when we start this count, we'll go through 4 cycles. You will inhale for an easy count of 4. You will gently hold your breath for a count of 7. And then even more gently, but audibly, exhale for a count of 8. These counts do not need to be full seconds. The better you get at this, the more relaxed you get, the longer these counts might actually get. So we're going to go through 4 cycles all together. I want you to inhale softly in through your nose for 4. Hold for 7. And then exhale out for 8. Neighbors should be able to hear you exhale. Inhale for 4. Hold for 7. Exhale for 8. Inhale for 4. Hold for 7. Exhale for 8. Do one more. Inhale for 4. Hold for 7. An audible exhale for 8. And just gently open your eyes. How many of you noticeably, from the start to finish of that, just feel like even a little bit more calm? So we start to let the sympathetic side of our nervous system, the side that we get amped up for, the side that our morning routine gets us going for, our coffee gets us going for, first, second, third, fourth cup, that our workout gets us going for, we're always sympathetic. But if we never turn that off, we never give our body a chance to relax. That took under 2 minutes. If you don't have enough time in your day to close your eyes, or even just to step into the bathroom for 2 minutes to do that, then we need to reprioritize a little bit. Because even something as simple as that can help relax your brain down to remove some of this chronic stress that we're all underneath. It can become very, very important.
And so we dive into our second principle. You are the average of the 5 people you spend the most time with. This includes your colleagues, your friends, your family, and in today's day and age, social media. Your podcasts, who you're following, who you're interacting with. We spend a lot of time on our mobile devices, a lot of time at work, a lot of time with family, a lot of time with friends. So for a moment, I want you to just think about who are those people in your life? And are those people in your life propelling you or holding you back? Are those the ones that challenge you in the morning to get up to go to a workout? Or are they the ones that challenge you to eat that slice of pizza at lunch? This is a very serious topic because we spend a lot of time with a lot of different people. And like we've mentioned earlier, you choose those people. You choose to go to work. You choose to go to your family functions. You choose to go out with your friends. You choose to go to a workout class. That is your choice. And again, in today's day and age, we have the power of social media to choose whoever we want to hang out with. You can listen to podcasts. You can read books. You can follow amazing people on social media. Or you can do the opposite. And so with this, we challenge everybody to come up with their board of advisors. Run yourself like a business, because you are. You are your brand. You are your life. So we divide this into 3 areas: your health, your business, and your recreation. I want you to think about right now 3 people in each one of these spots that you want to spend time with. Who's going to motivate you to work out? Who wants to go get an acai bowl? Who would help you start an idea? Who thinks it's cool to read books on the weekends? Who would challenge you on a weekend instead of going out to brunch to go rock climbing or go on an adventurous trip? These are the type of people we need to spend the majority of our time with. We must realize that you make the choice. Now, this isn't easy because a lot of us are sunk in. You've had friends since you've been growing up, which is fine. But we need to just realize that we can still decide through so many different mediums now that we can create this epic board of advisors.
I think the toughest thing about considering some of these relationships in this list are maybe the people that don't actually make it. So a lot of us have had these foundational relationships for a very long time. But just as we can consider the relationships in our life that are essential to us, like who might make up the 3 people you trust with your health the most, it's also really, really important to evaluate the relationships in your life which no longer serve you, that no longer serve your purpose, that no longer serve your self-care, and that no longer serve where you want to go in your future. And these are the hardest relationships to consider because they're the ones that you need to let go of. And I don't mean let go of like you stop talking to your drinking buddies from college or the kids you went to grade school with. You can very much still love them, still tell them that. You just simply divert less of your energy in their direction. The other thing that's really important to consider is how flexible this list is. So by recreation, we mean what you do for fun. The people that you drank with in college, you may no longer be that close with as you start to have children, right? You hang out with whomever your kids are hanging out with. So the things that you care about are going to change based on the condition of your life. And they also certainly change based on what you care about and who you care about. So constantly evaluating these relationships, and not in a shallow way, but just in a way that you know that who you surround yourself with matters. It really, really matters. It has a huge effect. You start caring about the same things that they care about. What car are they driving? What house do they live in? Where do I want to go on trips? What do I do for fun? What are you doing on the weekends? Like, what are you doing later? Those things seep into your own lifestyle, and if we don't consider it, they start to creep in a little bit. So if you've got your phone on you right now, Brett and I are all about taking action right away. I'd like to introduce just one quick activity. We'd like you to show your gratitude right now. So if you have your phone, please take it out. This is the only time you can do that. Take it out and text somebody on that board of advisors. Health, business, recreation, community relationships. My mom's sitting in the front row, so by default, text your mom if you're not quite sure. I want you to explicitly communicate to them why you trust them and why you want them to hold you accountable. That's the most important part. This is not like, hey, I rely for you on health information, like, thank you. No, I'm relying on you to keep me on track. So first, please ask them for permission. Say please. Tell them to have the best day ever. And then definitely don't let them down. That's the biggest part. If you want a quick prompt, I wrote one to Bret. Said, hey, I'm at the Live Better Toxic Go-Go right now. I'm evaluating my relationships. You're on my health team. And I want you to keep me on track with my training and nutrition. Please let me know if you're okay with that. I appreciate you. And I want to say thank you in advance. So if you're not quite sure what to write, just swap out Bret for someone else that you trust with your health. This is really important because we have to consider why we're doing this. You're the easiest person in the whole room to fool. So creating some outside accountability is really, really important. They're giving you an objective viewpoint. When you spend that time thinking about yourself, you're victimizing yourself a little bit. Get out of your own head by asking somebody else for advice. So while you're finishing up, sending this very nice text message, I'm going to let Bret explain a little bit about his story and how Bret has used this concept of board of advisors and really considering how the people in his life have changed it.
So this is one of my favorite quotes. Set your life on fire. Seek those who fan your flames. So two health guys coming up here talking. We run every day. We work out. We teach. We, eat green juice. I want to give you guys a little anecdote about myself. I was a savage in college. I've drank more than any of you in this room. Combined. Jason and I met under those circumstances. I was a bartender. I would chug bottles of Rumplemints. I would drink 20 beers before I would go out to the bar. I would proceed to take my shirt off in the bar. I didn't give a shit. So I came from there. That was me, college, after I graduated. I thought that's what life was. I thought that my value was being that guy, being the MVP on spring break. What does that even mean? But it was when I found my purpose, I started to realize that wasn't me. Now, I still go just as hard, but in health. So I surrounded myself with those that fan my flames. My wife, Jason, all of my friends that are in this industry. And it was hard. I've had friends since I was in high school that I still consider my best friends, but I spend a lot less time with. Why did I do that? So I could be here. It was not easy, and days go by where it's tough. But it's worth it when you have a purpose. And it means something when those people reach out to you for advice. When they come to you because you are doing something that seems so bizarre. How do you make money doing that? Are you sure you want to leave? You don't have a 401k. Fuck that. My purpose was found. I found that. You have to find that. Then you have to surround yourself by the people that elevate you, that bring you up to another level. And that's not going to be easy. Nothing about doing this is easy. If it was easy, everybody would do it. There's nothing fun about easy. So we want to offer you guys ways in which we can do this together.
So at Live Better, this is exactly the community that we're trying to build. We run wellness retreats, like the video that you saw, which is kind of our ultimate experience. It's where you get to explore things and ideas like this and have conversations with other people that care about things like this every single day. And you get to do it in an environment kind of set and setting that doesn't distract you. We've got touch points in Chicago, like a book club we host once a month. Lots of people in this room are in it, so we meet up. We also get people to Google Hangout in from all over the place. We run events during the summer like rooftop yoga or dinners. We train private clients and do one-on-one coaching. We try and provide as many different outlets to help you be accountable to what it is you want to achieve. We've got a Wake Up Wednesday newsletter that comes out every Wednesday morning that we try and make motivational and a little bit educational to get your week, to give your week a little bit of momentum. We've got this podcast where you have interesting conversations with people that are thinking about life and business a little bit different. These are all ways in which we found inspiration from other people and are paying that forward back to our clients and community. And that brings us to our third principle, which is adapted from a Bill Gates quote, and he talks about it in a decade, but I don't even know what I'm doing next week. So we've shrunk it down a little. Is that people overestimate what they can do in a day and underestimate what they can do in a year, right? Most of us enter every day extremely stressed. We're overwhelmed. We're running from one meeting to the next. There's this text message, this phone call. We're on the phone, feeding the kid in the back, driving with our knee, right? Posting to our Instagram at the same time. We're depressed about what happened yesterday. We're anxious about what might happen tomorrow. And we're stressed about what's happening right now. We feel like life's getting a little bit out of control. It's like, it's too busy to work out. No, you didn't prioritize the time to work out. You let something else happen. What happens if we reframed those emotions? What happens if we were grateful for what happened yesterday, hopeful for what we get to do tomorrow, and just content to be where our feet are right now? You're in this room, taking just an hour out of your day, even if you take nothing away, just to listen to a different viewpoint, somebody who's doing something a little bit different from their life with what you might be doing. And that is impactful. And that is important. So how do we create that on a day-to-day basis? It's by creating the structure, framework, and the people surrounding us to apply better goal-setting strategies to execute that. It's doing the right things, being effective, and doing them well, which is being efficient. It's marrying those two things together. That is ultimately where we start to move to accumulate all of these best days ever into this longer life.
So one of the ways we do this is through goal setting. And we break this goal setting down into 4 different areas. Macro, what is the goal? So Jason and I have never run a marathon in our lives. And we're not just going to run the Chicago Marathon, but we're going to race it. We're going to do it in under 3 hours. We decided on that goal. We're going to start with a health example, and then we'll give you guys another one. So we break that down into meso goals, smaller chunks. If you've ever watched me on my Instagram, I throw up these monthly goals. That is the goal for the month. So in August, we're going to run 40 miles a week because that will feed in to the macro goal. Then we break it down one step further, micro. What are you doing today for that meso goal and that macro goal? Today we're going to run 4 miles easy, get our pace up, feel good. All great, right? You got your planners, you got the stickers, you got the notes, you got all these awesome ways to track it. That's number 4. How do we track it? So for this example, we use the Nike app. So we're able to run with our app, track it. There's a community on there to get people involved so that people can see what you're doing. You have to be motivated. We look at each other's all the time. So tracking is super important. Without tracking, that cool sheet of paper with the sticky notes and all of that on there doesn't mean shit because you won't do it. So let's think about another example. And again, we're not trying to be shallow with this one, but let's talk about relationships. Jason and I are both happily married. And one of the tools that I use is, another plug here, Google Calendar, to schedule time for 3 things. Number 1, time for myself throughout my day, which has a lot of different things going on, to just think about my relationships. My wife, my friends, with my family. So once a week, 30 minutes, just to think about it. No objective, no goal. I'm going to do that. It's on my calendar. Number 2 is every single month I write 3 gratitude letters to people that inspire me, friends, family, people that I've never met. just to share that out. And then 4 is scheduling events with my wife. There's nothing wrong with that. Dinners, fun nights out, conversations about things that aren't easy to talk about. I have to do that, and it works. So it's okay to schedule things out in your relationships. It's okay to do things like that. It's great. You are putting forth effort to be your best self.
Our sort of final ending thought, if you've never heard the man in the arena quote, I'm going to read it for you. If you have heard it before, please just consider how it might affect you within the context of the things that we're talking about. It's powerful enough to take time to read it to you. So, it is not the critic who counts, not the man who points out how the strong man stumbles, or where the doer of deeds could have done them better. The credit belongs to the man who is actually in the arena, whose face is marred by dust and sweat and blood, who strives valiantly, who errs, who comes up short again and again, because there is no effort without error and shortcoming, but who does actually strive to do the deeds, who knows great enthusiasms, the great devotions, who spends himself in a worthy cause, who at best knows in the end the triumph of high achievement, and who at the worst, if he fails, at least fails while daring greatly, so that his place shall never be with those cold and timid souls who neither know victory nor defeat. This quote encompasses so many of the things that we talked about. Just trying and doing it. Doing things with enthusiasm and a positive mindset. The worthy cause is your purpose. You can think about having your best day ever all you want. You can map out your New Year's resolutions. You can map out your perfect marathon PR time. You can think about that side hustle you considered once or that trip you want to take in the future. But if you don't actually do it, Nike got this right from the start. Just do it. If you don't actually do it, the perfect plan you never follow is worthless. You're working out the perfect rep scheme, the perfect workout is the worst one if you don't go out and do it. And those cold and timid souls, it's a little bit powerful, sitting on the sidelines, those are the people critiquing you that have never tried to do what you've done. Social media has been a little bit bad about this, right? We can just sit behind our phone or computer and comment. Somebody who else is living their life and trying to do something with it. And that judgment is creeping in and causing a little self-doubt. Fuck that. You're the one in the arena. You're the one putting your foot forward. It doesn't matter if you fail, only that you try. The strength that comes from trying creates consistency. We encourage you to get out there and do it.
And so from there, we end with one key point that Jason just mentioned. None of this matters if you don't go do anything. None of it matters if you don't go do anything. Consistency is everything. You must do it every single day. You're tired? You still got to get your workout in. You got a rough meeting? You still got to get your vibe up. All of these things must happen consistently because it creates momentum. Like I mentioned with that morning routine, kind of joking about writing a book. How do you think authors write books? They write. You are a professional in your life. That is a different mindset than an amateur. The amateur does it, they go for the run, they jog. No, we're professionals. Every single one of you here is a professional in your life. And the only way to be the best professional you can is through consistency. It creates a positive snowball effect. You roll that ball down the hill, it gains momentum. You start bringing people in. You start highlighting things. You start going to events like this. You make yourself your best self.
I think the true purpose of self-care and why we kind of start with that is what you get to do with it after. It's not, the end game is not nice-looking abs and a slim waistline. Right? You've been working on losing weight. Great, you lost weight. Now what? What are you going to do? Is this lighter, happier, stronger human being? You focused on running this race. Great, you finished. Now what? This is what self-care is. It's taking that and applying all the things that you learn from doing it and that you gain from doing it, and it's just helping the people around you. You're not quite sure what your purpose is yet? How about starting exactly where you're at with what you're capable of doing to help the person sitting next to you, to help somebody in your community? I don't care if it's volunteering 10 minutes of your time, $10 of your income. What you do with your energy, that's what matters. That's where we turn self-care into purpose. That is the next step. There's another great Rumi quote that says, live life as if everything is rigged in your favor. Kind of ties back to The Alchemist, that the whole world is conspiring to help you do what you need to do. And then, when shit hits the fan, that's why we have all these strategies. When you get injured mid-racing cycle, when you have something go horribly wrong in your personal life amidst the best stretch of your professional life, how do you handle that? Without energy, no chance. That's where this becomes super important. It's your responsibility to show up like a professional with your tank full. You have the opportunity to make an impact on the world on your own terms. And if you let it, the world will dictate what that is instead of the other way around. This is how we get to live our best life every single day and what it means to have the best day ever every single day.
So we have one final activity. Everybody stand up. So we're going to try to go viral. I brought my selfie stick. So we're going to do a little video where I'm going to cue everybody to say, have the best day ever. And I'm not just going to say it. Zach, I need you to yell it. Everybody here, you have to yell it. You guys ready?
Yeah.
All right, we're going to do that again. Are you guys ready?
Yeah.
All right. So I'm going to say 1, 2, 3, and then everybody says, have the best day ever. All right? Are we live?
Make sure it's recording.
Oh, it's
we're
going.
live.
Yeah,
we're in
going.
it.
You guys good?
Yeah, you count.
I'm going to be going like, I want screams and like high fives and jumping jacks, hugs, kisses, whatever you want to do. All right. Are we ready? Yeah. Are we hyped? Let's go. Come on. Let's get it going. Let's go. All right. So it's going to be 1, 2, 3, and then we're going to say it. All right. Ready?
Nice, good swing.
1, 2, 3. Have the best day ever! Woo! Let's go! Let's go! Talks at Google. What up?
We hope that everybody can live better. Thank you guys very, very much for coming.